Welcome to Season 3 of the Lounge Pokemon Draft League. Today I'm bringing you guys some mid-season interviews. I'm your host, Michael, and I'll be sitting down with many of the other coaches participating in this season of the LDL. If you like this type of content, make sure you leave a like, as that lets me and my friends know to keep making more draft content. And without further ado, let's get started with the interviews. Alright, so here we have our first interview of the video here. We have our good friend, co-owner of the league right here, BigFishmonger. Would you like to introduce yourself?
It's great to be here. It's also nice to not be the one hosting something for once.
I know, it feels like you're like the one that's running the scenes behind the whole lounge posting channel, but we got other people here too.
Well, so I love when other people can come in and do their own projects and run things on their own. The whole idea of the lounge posting channel was just something extra that I wanted to do because something I do a lot of in my free time is just watch people talk about Pokemon battles, right? Mm-hmm. Channels like BKC and Jimothy Cool, right? I'm watching their videos like the minute they come out, and these are just people talking about competitive Pokemon. And I kind of wanted to, throw my own hat in the ring and do my own version of it. And well, I don't really care about, the success. The channel is not exploding or anything, but it's something I love to do, and it gives me an outlet to do it. And because of the live stream format, it lets everybody else join in too. So
yeah, it's like a nice kind of like side project. It's not really like supposed to be like successful, or you're not really trying for it to be successful. It's literally just
documentation purposes.
Yeah. And I feel like just having that like as like a side passion project is just very something relaxing in a sense.
Yeah, if I had more time, I'd be doing even more video stuff. The best part of the live streams is that I can record it and upload it all in one, fell swoop. There's no, it's not like I have to record the footage, edit it, like record a voiceover, any of that. It can be done all in one sitting in one night.
Yeah, it's just
I just have to hit start and stop.
When as soon as you click the done button, like it's over. You don't have to like post edit or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's get right into it. So I got a couple questions here prepared for you, Eric. So we'll just start off with some general questions here. Who's your all-time favorite Pokemon, and why would you say that's your favorite?
All right. Well, I feel like asking me that's not really even necessary. Now, I don't make it very okay. It's Iron Hands, all right? I won't beat around the bush.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew the question, but I had to ask it anyways.
I'm a big fan of so many different Pokemon for different designs, like their designs, their utility, all sorts of reasons. And, well, I hardly ever use Iron Hands, or... I mean, I had it once for one season, but it's not like... It's really new. I'm usually a sucker for the old designs. There's just something about it that whenever I look at Iron Hands, it just I start smiling. It's funny. It's good, and also it's the epitome of the whole like paradox Pokemon naming scheme. I could never 10 years ago when I was a kid, I would never imagine a Pokemon being named just like two nouns like that.
Adjective noun.
Iron Hands.
It is just like the epitome of just like a Pokemon name. Like, what is this Pokemon?
Yeah.
It's made of iron and it has hands. Iron hands.
It's a robot with defibrillator hands. It's so cool.
All right.
Yeah, no,
anything else you gotta add to that?
I got nothing else.
Iron hands, period. Moving on. Alright, so I guess I'll say for the next question, who's your favorite Pokemon on your current draft team? And that could be like your favorite Pokemon to build, favorite to use in battle, your favorite nickname that you have on it, like the best design that you think, man. Just anything.
Okay, so man, I could go a couple different routes with that. I think right now I'm kind of tied between three. So I've really been enjoying Hawlucha, right? That's mostly because it's strong, not necessarily because it does anything special. But what has been fun is trying to find ways to take advantage of some of the lesser known qualities of a Pokemon and bring those to the forefront. So one of my favorite things with Hawlucha has been finding unique ways to take advantage of its Unburden ability, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if people have done this in the past, but something I've noticed a lot in our own league is that one of the biggest deciding factors of if your team will succeed in a given battle is if it can handle it's like setup sweepers, right?
Yeah.
So, like me, I'm sure someone else has come up with this before, but like I had never seen it. So when I started using red card Hawlucha with Endure to take a hit from a setup sweeper, or like a Paradox Pokemon, use up their booster energy, right? Force them to switch out, take some hazard damage while they get forced out, and then I survive the hit, get down to like 1 HP, Unburden activates, and then I can start clicking Reversal, like a 200 power fighting move. Like, it's not great, it's not reliable, but it's just one of those many tools in my toolbox that I can bring out to some games, and Hawlucha offers a lot of utility like that. But I've also been having a lot of fun with Indeedee, which I wasn't expecting. Indeedee having those two different forms that I can choose between, being the male or the female version, with one being faster and slightly more offensively oriented, and the other being slower but more defensive. But they also have different move pools, right? The female one can set up like Light Screen and Reflect. The male has access to Expanding Force, so it actually just ludicrous damage. And it's just these minor little differences between the two of them that give me, I almost want to say, almost an extra Pokemon without needing another team slot for it. It's just one more thing my opponents have to think about.
Yeah, it really is like the best of...
The best part is Psychic Surge, being its ability, blocking priority, is such a, from my own experiences, such a nice little just extra thing to have when my team, aside from Unburden Hawlucha, tends to be outsped by a lot of these like booster energy threats, right? Or like Vacuum Wave and whatnot. Like I need the speed. I need as much speed as I can get, and getting shut down by priority sucks. So having this extra little layer of protection is really nice.
And I think what's really helping your team a lot with the Psychic Surge is the fact that we don't really have a lot of terrain setters, right? Nobody drafted Rillaboom, so you're not fighting for terrains. I mean, you have Alex, which... Did you guys fight already? I don't know if you guys fought yet so far.
We have not.
Yeah, so like once you get there, then you'll be fighting for the terrains, but like really Psychic Terrain, like the only counterplay we have to it, besides setting up another terrain, is Ice Spinner, really. And
Ice Spinner and Defog. And Defog gets rid of it too, which is so annoying.
I didn't even know that, so like I'm guessing that a lot of people do either.
Yeah, it's not the first thought, but a lot of people bring Defog for hazards, and then they're happily surprised when they find out that it does more than just clear the hazard.
You said you were tied between 3 though. Did you have another one?
Oh, yeah. So, I have really been enjoying the utility that Sinistra brings to the team. Now, I'm not going. It's not. I'd say it's an honorable mention. It's not up there with the other two in the same way, because it tends to bring pretty much the same moves to every battle. It's not doing anything unique. But I drafted it because I wanted to fill out my team, and I needed something within a certain point range for that last slot during the initial draft. But I've discovered that like a bulky grass ghost type that has the ability to just shut down physical attackers, Strength Sap and Machagacha burning things, and it can run Scald if you want. But yeah, having this ability to shut down physical attackers block things like rapid spin, or close combat, which my team isn't the best against something like just like a raw fighting attack.
Yeah.
Having something I can just switch in against that is nice. But then having like Calm Mind to boost its special defenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
It almost becomes like unkillable in certain situations, and I think we've seen that a little bit this season, where after 1 or 2 Calm Minds, you need a really specific counter to take down Sinistra.
I mean, we saw that
it's
against
not,
your
it's
Valley
not
Queen.
unkillable, but yeah, exactly.
It was like cure 'em, and then like I couldn't hit it especially, but then on the physical side,
Yeah,
you were
like
able
it
to string
survived.
sap.
And the best part was, Michael, I don't know if you remember us talking about this. I had accidentally clicked like the guest spread button on Showdown, so it had like an offensive, like a frail offensive set, which was not at all what I wanted, and it still survived like a key room, like what was that, choice specs, ice beam or something.
Choice specs for Ice Beam or Freeze Dry, one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Pokemon's crazy on your team.
Very,
so, yeah,
very surprising.
good list of Pokemon there. Next question I have for you: what is your history with competitive Pokemon?
Okay, so I say my history with competitive Pokemon, I'd say was very like organic, right? Started playing when I was just a kid, classic Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and then Black and White. And I think it was around, I want to say around X and Y, when I started to become more aware of like how you like the existence of competitive Pokemon. And I want to say I started a little bit in Gen 6, but it wasn't until Generation 7 where I really started to get into things, where I'd be watching these videos, I do like these massive streaks in the battle tree they had there, and actually make teams and go on like the ladder in game. And I think really though what did it was being bored in school and having Pokemon Showdown on our on the Chromebook they gave us.
Was it unblocked?
It was unblocked at first, so
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I want to say part of it was, I think, that just because Pokemon became this thing that I could, do random battles at school for at least for a while, and but yeah, then from there, I'd say it's been very on and off.
Right.
I've never gotten I've never done official competitions or anything. It's always just been something I do on the side. Yeah, something I do on the side. I always like to say it's like rock, paper, scissors, but you got to think a lot harder. Because really, that's what every single turn is.
Yeah, it's all about like the guessing games. It's kind of different
and
in
I
like
have found
Smash and stuff. Where it's like very technical.
Yeah, exactly right.
This is more like your brain. So as long as you can outplay your
opponent,
and
I enjoy that aspect.
Yeah,
it's frustrating when you're playing a game and it's like, man, I physically like can't do this, or
yeah,
you have to like practice inputs with Pokemon. A lot of, at least with how we do things like in this draft, a lot of what goes into you winning is the time you spend before the game even starts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
It's the prep work.
Planning moves, investing different stats and items and abilities, doing calculations, just things like that. Where if you have a game plan and you know what you're doing, you can dismantle almost any kind of situation as long as you're properly prepped for it.
Exactly. I feel like 90% is like spent in the team builder. The rest of that is the battle. So, all right, a couple more questions. What are your thoughts on your draft currently? Just like your team as a whole. Like, are you happy about it? Are you regretful about some certain decisions? What would you say?
I kind of want to make a couple trades.
Ooh.
Part of it just being, season 2, I misinterpreted one of the rules we had about trading. So I like changed half of my team before the first battle even happened, and then I couldn't trade for the rest of the season. So that was kind of annoying. And now I have this option to like tweak my team a little bit here and there. We're at just past the halfway point now, I think, and I can go in and change a couple, I'll say, non-core members and really spice up what I've got going on here.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily me trading because I think I have like a weak point. It would almost be more just to give myself, some new toys to play with, right?
Yeah. End of the day, it's like more for fun, I feel like that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from you. It's like you're not really trying to like win. I mean, winning obviously is like the goal here. Like you do
like
winning,
winning,
but like that's not like the main focus. It's just trying to like use Pokemon that you haven't used before and just
like I know we've had some discussion about this behind the scenes a little bit, but I've been a pretty big advocate for, at least I know in this season, but also in like future ones, I want the power level to come down a little bit, because at the moment there's so much focus on these min-maxed uber Pokemon, pretty much, like Iron Bundle and Dragapult and Valiant, that are just so much faster and hit so much harder than everything else.
Yeah, they're very oppressive.
I think what makes a draft so exciting is when you get to see some of these little guys succeed. I know on the MVP race he's kind of fallen back a little bit, but when Gligar was like top 3 or something, that was so cool.
Yeah, let me look it up real quick.
Well, the current list, there are still a couple of silly ones scattered about there, like Bronzong being top 10.
That's right.
But there's still so many just like Sneasler and Bundle and Great Tusk and these Pokemon that are just so fast and so strong, and I want to, in the future, right, I want to see more I don't know, underdog stories, right?
Yeah. I feel like in the top 16, there's only a few Pokemon that are under the 9-point category that are in there. So like Gligar, we were talking about. We have Flygon from my team, Ice Cube putting up Jordan numbers, Bronzong, like we said, Gyarados, and then Duraludon from Ben. God, that Duraludon.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything else I feel like is above in that range. And I kind of just trying to like tone down the power.
And even so, a lot of these results towards the bottom, like we've got Gligar on there, right? But it only has 4 kills, right? Versus those, I'll say, top 3, 4, 5 spots where you get a couple good sweeps and it's not even close anymore. So I want to, in the future, right, I want to see more experimentation with trying to make less desirable Pokemon work.
I get that completely.
Yeah, I know, with no visual reference it's probably hard to picture, but like we've talked about cutting off the top 16 choices, but I'd even say like let's cut off the top like 13 points, or maybe even like top 10, so then we're just working with like these scraps at the bottom. I think there could be a lot of fun to be had.
I do want to do that. That sounds like fun. We'd have to rearrange a lot of things, but I think, or like rebalance. But I think that sounds like a lot of fun. Because then you won't be going for like round 1 Dragapult or round 1 Valiant. You'll be like round 1.
Yeah, no, like a good round 1 pick would be grabbing like, I don't know, Talonflame or something.
Yeah, something.
Because that would be the new fastest, hardest hitting thing, despite it being, so unpopular in our current format.
Yeah. Crazy, right? Thinking about that, like, whoa, round 1, like Raikou? Like, who?
Oh, yeah, no, honestly, maybe we should even ban Raikou. I mean,
who knows?
We'll see.
All right, last question for you here. Looking forward, is there anybody you're excited to play against? And alternatively, are there any words you'd like to say to your future opponents?
Future opponents? Who am I going against? I know later today, I'm going against Ben, who has almost become the de facto villain of this season, which was a twist I was not expecting at all. So I'm hoping, at least, at least for my own sake, I'm hoping I can beat him tonight, just so then his ego doesn't get any bigger. But I think, looking ahead, I'm really excited to go against Connor.
Me too.
He's the only other person I think that I have no experience playing against at all, and based on his performance this season, it seems like that'll be an exciting game. He's got a lot of very dangerous threats on his team. Otherwise, the guy I invited on here, Isaiah, I really want to play against him because, in a little sense, right? I almost trained him, at least at first.
My pupil.
Gave him, like my pupil, right? So I want to see how he does, and my game against him is on week 10, so it's right almost at the end. So I'm excited to see kind of just how much he'll have improved from the beginning when he had never played Pokemon until the very end.
I feel like he's been getting better. I feel like his game.
I think he's getting a lot better.
He's learning a lot more as well as he goes on. The master versus the student.
Yeah. I don't want to phrase it too much like that, though. I mean, I barely taught him anything.
Has it really just been him then? That's like putting in the effort?
Well, it's more like I'll give him some guidance, but I don't want to. Unlike what Ben will do sometimes, I don't want to make his teams or tell him like bring exactly this or do exactly this, right? I want to make sure that he knows like what's going on and what's like a good or bad idea,
right?
And the risks that are involved with that. But I want to let him have as much autonomy as he can. Like when he presented the idea of bringing exclusively rest talk Pokemon to a battle, I made it very clear that that was funny and could work with some of his Pokemon, but for things like Corviknight and Empoleon, it's just better to click Roost. It's just not worth it.
But you just let him do it. Well, you gotta teach him how to summon.
That's my job, right? Is I advise, but I don't make the decisions.
All right. Well, that's really fun. Did you have any words that you wanted to say to your opponents? Any call-outs you wanted to do?
No, I'm not very confrontational here. Best of luck to all of my future opponents.
We have a nice person here.
Let's hope RNG keeps out of our games as much as possible. I think the randomness of Pokemon can be fun, but man, I have seen way too many games just get decided in like that first turn or two because of a freeze or a lucky dodge, and I want to see close games, right? I want my own games to be close. I want other people's games to be close. I want it to be exciting.
I think during this segment, I'm gonna put a replay of your first battle, your week 1 against.
I figured.
You're probably gonna do that. Well, anyways, that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you for joining me for this interview here, Eric.
Thank you for hosting the interview.
Yeah, no problem. And we'll just cut to the next interview right here, so stay tuned for that. All right, and we're back with another interview. Today I have another special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for calling me special. I appreciate that. This is the Season 1 runner-up, Season 2 champion, and the Season 3, probably like 4th or 5th place finisher, Kyle, Team Motif.
Yeah.
Stands for Wait, This Isn't Fantasy Football.
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't think a lot of people have caught on yet, is that WTF is an acronym. Also, way to like embellish yourself there. Eric was very humble. He was just like, "Hi, my name's Eric."
I mean,
all right. I have some questions for you for this interview here. So we're gonna start off nice and simple here. Who's your all-time favorite Pokemon and why?
So this is kind of a very specific answer. but I'm going to start out with a bit of a story. I've always been a fan of multi-hits. I think it's really satisfying, especially with skill link ability. I love the loaded dice item. And I think just the little hits that just chop down your opponent's HP slowly but surely, I really like. So there's a game called Pokemon, what is it? I have it right here. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. I played it a ton during the COVID pandemic, and there's like special skills in that game that have certain benefits, and one of them is called Rapid Bullseyes. That means all your multi-hits connect all 5 hits. All the hits work differently in that game, like each hit has a chance to miss, but if one does miss, the rest can keep going. And I had a Heracross, and I kept resetting the ability. I like use the currency. I think in my last reroll, I finally got Rapid Bullseyes, and I just started feeding all the items to make it stronger, like the protein, the zinc, and I just kept powering this thing up. And so every time I would be able to, like, one shot, it would deal like lethal damage 5 times in a row. And I do have a clip saved in my phone that I might send to you, like link at this point in the interview, if you remember. Yeah. That it one-shots a holo.
Really?
With like 4 times resistant bullet seed too. But I've always loved multi-hits ever since then. Mega Heracross was one of my favorites. So yeah, that Heracross specifically.
Yeah, that Heracross from Mystery Dungeon.
Yes. In the actual game, I'm a big fan of Donphan. So I picked him Season 1. Rayquaza is probably one of my favorite legendaries. Mega Rayquaza was cool, even overpowered.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Those are my favorites.
I did not know about the Heracross and Donphan. That's something I'm learning about you. Wow.
Yeah, and I can't forget about my Gen 5 homie, Samurott and Cobalion.
Yeah.
Favorite Gen 5 Pokemon.
Dude, I'm so glad that somebody else likes Samurott. I feel like being on the internet, I feel like I'm the only one that actually likes Samurott. Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, dude, it's so good, but Samurott sucks." But I'm like, I love Samurott. Like, I don't know, I just love him.
Oshawott was my first starter of all time. My first Pokemon game was White 2. I named my Samurott Samurai.
Dude, I named my Oshawott.
So clever.
I named my Oshawott Mike Jr.
No joke. First, I saw I could give it a nickname. I'm like, okay, and I named Oshawott OSH. I'm like, wait, it evolved. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
and I read in a manga about the main character like looking up what the Pokemon would evolve into to nickname it. So I did that. I'm like, Samurai.
I did that too with in Oris. I got Mudkip. I named it Muddy, and then when it evolved to Marshy or Marshtomp, I named it Marshy. When I named it to Swampert, I named it Swampy.
Swampy.
Yeah. So I don't blame you there. Wow, that was cool. I didn't know that about you. So awesome. Next question I got. So far, who's your favorite Pokemon on your current team? I know you've been changing your teams quite a bit, but so far, let's recap what your team is and share us your favorite.
So currently, it is Sneasler, Iron Valiant, which I acquired from a trade with you, Dragapult.
We also have
Greninja, who I just I dropped Kumo-O for Greninja. And then Mimikyu, Arcaludon, Espeon, as a Terra Captain, Leavanny, Terra Captain, and Volbeat, who I haven't used yet. And this might be a cop-out answer, but my favorite so far is probably Iron Valiant. Even though I just got him.
You just got him? You haven't even used him in battle yet.
Last season I drafted him, and like he fell to the 3rd rounds. And he was a huge MVP of that. But if I had to choose from the ones I've used so far, definitely Sneasler. I mean, he's just so physically offensive, very fast, good or decent type coverage.
I mean, like it puts a stronghold on team building. You know?
Yes. You gotta prepare for the Unburden sweep, and he's just got so many creative ways to use Unburden. More creative than Gold or Big Nugget Fling.
Yes.
And we saw last season.
Fling Big
And the
Nugget.
funny thing is, I had a whole plan with my draft, and I ended up throwing it away just to draft Sneasler just because I wanted an Iron Valiant launcher, and now he's on my.
Nice. Yeah, I the reason why I gave that Valiant to you was, I don't know, I just wanted to shake up my team a bit. I did want to give Iron Valiant to Alex, but he said he'll think about the trade offer, and so I didn't think that he would want it, because obviously, you know, he said no at first, and so then next person came, you know, first come first serve. I scooped that up. I was like, why not? I do like Valiant, not saying that I don't like Valiant, and I did really want to use him, but at the same time, why not? It's for fun.
Yeah, and I feel like both of us didn't really use Pokemon we traded away to their potential.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I feel like Valiant. I mean, I did get a decent bit of like Iron Valiant action in Williams' battle, but a lot of the times it would just come in and then die.
And I think you got a pretty tanky team, which is good for Valiant, because or good for Dragapult, because Dragapult can't really take hits on his own, so you can come in, outspeed, U-turn out if necessary to a better matchup.
One thing
my team like Blast Cannon.
One thing I did like about Valiant that I kind of learned is the value of chip damage, right? Because without like setting up with like a Calm Mind or a Swords Dance first, you can't really outspeed and then kill things. But if you get chip damage with spikes or stealth rock damage or a Rocky Helmet, or like just maybe like a stray bullet punch from something, that chip adds up, and that can start enabling certain kills with Iron Valiant. And so, yeah, chip damage from spikes, Ceaseless Edge, or Stone Edge, or Stealth Rock, those start to add up, and that can start enabling Iron Valiant to sweep. I couldn't show that off, but that is something that I've noticed in like calcs and stuff. Like, oh, if I get maybe like a layer of spikes and a Stealth Rock up, that guarantees an OHKO.
Yeah, that's something that I really don't take into account a whole lot with offensive calcs and even defensive calc, which is something that I should take account of for.
Yeah,
I'm just looking for triple digits, like 100. That's good. Move on to the next calculation.
Max, baby. That's all you need. All right.
That's been like my philosophy since season 1, pretty much.
Real quick, I gotta ask, because I failed to ask this about Eric's team. What's your favorite nickname on your team?
It was honestly probably Neuro or Necrozma, even though he's not on the team anymore. But it's okay if I like quickly explain my nicknames here.
Yeah, sure.
So Admiral, where I traded to you, Dragapult, based off aircraft carrier, and I just looked up ranks in the Navy, and Admiral sounded cool.
It is cool.
Espeon is named Versailles because versatile. Versailles sounded like a, I don't know, mystical, sophisticated name.
Yeah.
And it was like the treaty that ended one of the World Wars, Treaty of Versailles.
I was gonna say, that's the one that I remembered.
Yeah. Mimikyu is Arthur because Joker reference behind the mask. Greninja's gonna have a fun nickname. I don't want to reveal that yet.
Ooh. Senior side B?
Sneeze.
There's a throwback. Nobody's gonna know that.
Sneasler is Burke because I don't know. I want like kind of a goofy name for a goofy guy. Archaludon is Maxwell because he's silver, and there's a Beatles song named Maxwell's Silver Hammer.
Nice, the music reference. I love those.
Yes. Neuro for Necrozma because of the Neuroforce ability of Ultra Necrozma. Como-O, here's a bit of a throwback. So there was a Smash 4 Japanese cloud player named Como Rikiri, and the name of Como-O, it's like half of that. So I made O-Rikiri, taking the first half of Como-O, and then combining the Smash Bros. Player's name. That
Komoriki. That's so funny.
Yeah, Rikiri. And Levani, I can name it Nanny because like sews leaf little clothes for baby swaddles.
That's cute.
And Volbeat's got a fun nickname coming up too.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Volbeat yet, so we'll see what that nickname is.
I got some good plans.
Awesome. Next question, we keep it moving on. What would you say is your history with competitive Pokemon?
Not too much before this. I play random battles a ton on Pokemon Showdown. Not as much recently, but I didn't know what Pokemon Showdown was like about a year before we started the league. Maybe a little, 2 years, I don't know.
Really?
But yeah, before COVID, I had no idea. In the main games, I really didn't do much besides just beat the main story. Post game, I try a few online battles, like take legendaries are my strongest Pokemon, but if I was playing against anyone that knew what they're doing, couldn't beat me. I do watch Freeze Eye videos, which I'm sure a lot of people that know competitive Pokemon. So
Yeah.
a lot of the strategies and interesting things about Pokemon really piqued my interest, but I'm not one to spend a bunch of time grinding main series game for something I could do a quarter, like a tenth of the time on Showdown.
Yeah, not even.
I don't really test. Yeah, I rarely test my teams in actual battles, but for me, I just like to queue in, not have to do a lot of work preparing. So that's why random battle is so fun for me because I can just kind of adapt on the fly.
They're very easy to pick up and play. I feel like, you don't have to do any prep work. It's just go in and just have fun.
Yes, there is definitely a fun to prepping, but I put a lot of pressure on myself too, and I end up getting more stressed than anything. But I've just been trying to take it more easy recently because otherwise, it's just an unhealthy amount of stress and pressure for no reason that I put on myself.
Yeah, and especially if you put all that time and effort and then you lose too.
Yeah,
it's really demoralizing. So actually,
but
since you said you didn't,
it does feel good when it pays off.
Yes, absolutely it does. You said you didn't start till last year, so that you did start with Gen 8, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess they did do random battles in Gen 8.
I was gonna say, I think you did. I think you talked about Gen 8, but your
Yeah,
first
that's right.
real competitive start was
Dynamax.
this one here.
Yeah, definitely Season 1 is really the first thing I've had to build my own team. Season 1, I looked up I forget what website. There was a suggested builds, and I had that open on a tab open for each of my Pokemon on my phone. I even had one open for Ditto.
Wow.
I don't know why.
Dude, what else Ditto's gonna do?
But since then, I've kind of gone off my own. Just open up the Pokemon stat calculator, and just see what I can do. Look at the stats, make my speed higher, super effective moves, all that.
Wow, that's really cool. I did not. I figured you must have had some information, prior history, because you hit the ground running from Season 1, and then you just didn't stop.
Yeah, I kind of know what Pokemon are good.
Yeah.
But not necessarily all the ins and outs. Why necessarily? Till I explore them.
Yeah, that's all good. We all come from different backgrounds and whatnot. What are your thoughts on your current draft so far? Do you feel like there's any regrets that you had, or do you feel like you really hit the nail on some picks?
I think I kind of screwed myself with this draft, to be honest.
Yeah.
My team is definitely a little bit more balanced type-wise than it was in the beginning, but I think I had 4 or 5 ghost weaknesses and dark weaknesses in the beginning.
It's all dark and ghost.
I had a bunch of dragons.
Yeah.
It wasn't too good, but I honestly think that if I did keep that team, but I put a lot of time and effort into preparing, I still think I could have had success. It just would have been more difficult, and it would have definitely relied me on winning the match in the battle.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
You would have
with
to
my team now,
rely on outplaying your opponent,
Yes, definitely. Well, in the seasons in the past, I could have kind of relied on my really good draft.
Yeah.
But I'm not too mad about it at this point. I do kind of not really regret, but looking back, it's why did I do this to myself. I have like one tank on my team, and that's it. My best switching a lot of times is just one-time use red card Mimikyu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I do kind of like the balls to the wall, glass cannon strategy.
All
if I'm in a
offense,
bad
baby.
matchup, oh boy, I just gotta throw my best hit and hope my next guy can clean it up.
Yeah, like I said, your team it lacks a lot of things that a conventional draft would say would have, but what it does have is just oppressive offense and crazy sweepers, and you even have like a one use just like get out of jail free card with a red card Mimikyu, you know?
Yes. I do have another one-time use anti-wall breaker that I did bring, but didn't get to be shown.
Yeah, and so maybe we'll see how that happens. But yeah,
if I feel like I need to prepare against a sweeper, and I think in this league you got to be prepared against a sweeper.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure.
We've seen so many sweeps over the season, and we've learned ways to prevent it.
As well, on your team, you have Archaladon, which in the team, or at least in the damage calc, it's hard to get a hold of because you could either go physically defensive, or you can go especially defensive with Assault Vest. And
that's right.
Either way, it's like really hard to deal with, because if you go special, then obviously you can't take advantage of your, like, I can't sweep you with a special attacker, or if you go physically defensive, then I can't hit you through with physical side, and that, you know, I have to be prepared for both.
Yes.
And so that's a Pokemon that is actually a very decent in draft that I say is on your team.
Yeah, that was definitely a good pickup for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Necrozma, I think, it's all right, but it just didn't fit with my team, and I definitely didn't give it a chance. But I think at that point I need to jump. It used one move all season.
Yeah, the poor guy.
I know. I was so excited to have it too.
All right. Well, closing this up now. Is there anybody you're excited to play against in your future matches? And alternatively, are there any words you would like to say to your opponents?
Let me pull up my schedule. So this week, I was scheduled to play Josh, but that most likely won't end up happening, but yeah, that's okay. Life comes first.
Mm-hmm.
Then immediately after, I have William. Now, William is a player I'd say has been pretty scary to play against in each season.
Mm-hmm. I can say that.
Kind of besides season 1, because season 1 he kind of had a Cinderella playoff run, which was crazy. But season 2 he was really the one player that I didn't convincingly or actually beat, because it was a last turn situation, and he ran out of time. We both were looking at calcs, I think, and the timer ran out, and I got the win.
I remember that.
So, and also coming off 2 losses and essentially a bye week with a lot of changes. I don't know. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be different. But the match I'm really excited about is Week 9 versus Ben.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, a few things for this matchup. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm smiling. Some people can hear my smile when I talk.
Oh, yeah.
When I drafted Sneasler, I said, I'm going to pick someone that I think did not have his potential reach last season. And then I drafted Sneasler. And who was Sneasler's team on again? Oh, that's right, Mr. Wallace Locomotive himself, Mr. Ben. And obviously all in good fun, but last week, Ben did trick the person he invited into the league, Raziel, into essentially throwing his match against him.
Mm-hmm.
And he shamelessly took the win.
Shamelessly.
And I made it my goal to avenge Raziel in Week 9. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to do a Sneasler sweep against Ben, but I'm not saying it either. So, Ben, I hope you don't watch this, because otherwise it's not going to work. But be prepared or don't, because it'll be funny.
Awesome. Now those are some exciting words to hear from Well, that's all I have for this interview. Kyle, thank you so much for joining me, and we will get going with the next interview. All right, and I have another interview guest with me today here. Would you like to introduce yourself, lovely guest?
Hi, I am William of the Cerulean City Slow Kings. I just kind of want to say before we get started, I am less of a guest and more of a prisoner. He's forcing me to do this against my will. And if any of you guys have a phone, get help.
William.
Huh?
I mean,
What?
just ignore the gun pointed to your head.
Oh.
And just answer the questions, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. Post Michael, cut that out. Anyways, so I have a couple questions I have to ask you. First of all, we'll start off nice and simple. Who's your favorite Pokemon of all time, and tell me why?
Okay, so my favorite Pokemon of all time is Grovyle, because of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. That was, like, probably the game I played most as a child. Like, it just had a lot. There was a huge post-game, and I loved all the characters in it, and Grovyle was my favorite character. Yeah. If you've played it, you know.
I was gonna say, is that Explorers of the Sky? Is that the one that you lent me a while ago?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that Kyle's answer was actually also related to Mystery Dungeon.
Ooh, which one?
I think it was the one on the Switch, Mystery Dungeon, something...
yeah.
Something about I forgot which one, but it was the one on the Switch.
DX?
I think so, yeah, Mystery Dungeon DX.
Yes.
And his was actually Heracross.
Okay, yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah, there is a team of the Heracross on there, yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually, wow, that's surprising that we got 2 Mystery Dungeon answers here.
Mystery Dungeon is such a good series. Go play all the games.
Go play them. I'll try.
Go play them. Just go play them.
So far, William, who is your favorite Pokemon on your current draft team?
Okay, I kind of feel bad because they've kind of underperformed this season, but I really like Latios. Like, Latios is such a cool Pokemon. They're quick. I think they're pretty diverse, and I think that they can be really threatening, even just in the planning stages, just because they have a lot going for them.
Dude, like, I wanted to draft Latios because its move pool is just so, like, stupid. It's got, like, Gen 1 coverage in terms of, like, it gets, like, every, like type in existence, you know?
130 special attack, and it gets Luster Purge, which is 95 base power, 100% chance to hit. Like, god damn. And then on top of Draco Meteor, which, And then it also gets stupid shit like Aura Sphere and Flip Turn. I love it so much.
I didn't get to ask Eric this question, but I'll ask you. What is your favorite nickname on your team?
Oh, do you mind if I take a moment to go look at Pokemon Showdown and look at my teams really quick? Just give me a second. Okay, so it's between 2 of them. So I hate that they're both like kind of along the a similar line, but week 1 I brought a Toxicroak that was called Toxithroat Goat. And I loved that name. And then I also loved Kate Quavel as well.
Yes, that's a good one.
I really liked both of those names.
How did you come up with those nicknames?
Degeneracy.
Degeneracy. I could have figured, but like...
That's the only answer I can give, to be honest. Just wanting to make awful puns with the fucking my Pokemon names, so that's kind of what most of my nicknames are, is trying to work my team names into like either a pun or a sentence, or they don't typically have like a theme.
Yeah, I noticed in your battle against me, they were all Ojamas, which is a Yu-Gi-Oh!
Card, yes. Right? So, yeah, they're all Ojamas except for 2 of them. I thought it would be really funny to just have one of them not be an Ojama. I named my... I was out of good names, so I named my Toxicroak Among Us stomach, because I thought, like, its stomach looked like a fucking Among Us character. Like, I'll send you, like, a crop screenshot of what I'm talking about. But I don't think anyone else saw it. And then I switched my Heatran set last second, and I forgot to nickname it again. So that was supposed to be like Ojama Red or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we noticed that in the live stream. I don't know if you caught it, but it was just like all the Ajamas and then just Heatran.
Yeah, no, that was unintentional, but
that was funny. All right, next question here. What's your history with competitive Pokemon?
I competed in season 1 and 2 of this league, and I lightly watched like Pokemon Showdown YouTube, like I forget what exactly, Temp6T and Weedle those are the only content creators I've seen before doing the league, and yeah, that's literally all I know. I have never really touched Ranked Ladder.
Really? So you've never had any competitive experience prior to this draft league then?
No, not really. I would just play the games to play the games. I did like a couple online battles, like just playing Pokemon, but like I never really liked EV trained or anything like that. I never went out and caught like perfect IV Pokemon. I just sort of threw my poor Pokemon in onto online, and most of the time got crushed. But I know more now than I did like years ago when I did that.
I think we all did that. Like, I remember going on the online being like, oh, I'm going to try an online battle. We'll see how it goes. And I would bring, like, my team with, like, you know, my champion team, but I got, like, Aggron and, like, you know, like, these shit Pokemon and just getting washed.
Yeah, I remember, I think I kind of played a little bit online during Gen 7, like, just bringing whatever Pokemon I had. And I remember trying to make Mega Lucario work, because I think they had Mega Evolutions during Gen 7 as well.
Yep.
And it just did not work. It did not work. Mega Lucario did not work. Very sad. I think part of the reason was because I wanted to use Aura Sphere instead of actually going for like a decent like Bullet Punch or Extreme Speed build. I just wanted to use Aura Sphere, so
because of Smash.
Kind of, probably.
Well, I mean, Mega Lucario is just one of those Pokemon that is just kind of cheats. You can run it however you want, and it works. But it was probably just like the matter of like it wasn't max IV or max EV trained or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, it was slow. It was probably didn't hit super hard either.
It's fine. It's whatever. All right. Next question here. What are your thoughts on your current draft as a whole? Are there any Pokemon that, or do you have any regrets on your team? Any like regrets on like decision making, or are you really content with your team?
I'm pretty content right now. Like, there's some things that I'm thinking about changing, but like, I don't see any good replacements, so I'm pretty happy with where it's at. I think there's definitely room for improvement, but I don't know what I do to change, because I don't feel like that there's anything worthwhile swapping out right now.
If there's one Pokemon that you would change out for free, who would it be and why?
Oh, I'm gonna be honest. I think probably... I hate saying this, but probably Cavalion.
Oh, really?
Like, he seems super good. He's just underperformed, sadly, for me. I think he's the only Pokemon that I have that has, like, a negative KD. And, like, whenever I try to get him out, I'm always just, like, super cautious, and then I look at the calc, and he's just, like, not killing. And it's just, like, it's, like, I want him to be good, and I think he is good. But, like, he just hasn't performed where I've wanted him to.
I feel like in this gen he's kind of fallen off, but like I remember hearing about in like Gen 7, like in Sun and Moon draft, and even like Gen 6 draft, he was really good.
Yeah, like...
I guess because the power level was a little scaled down. Now it's like he's competing with all these top dogs.
Yeah, when you have like 108 speed, I feel like 108 speed isn't even that fast anymore. Like, there's just so... The pool is just so wide, and there's just... That just means that there's more Pokemon that are faster. And it's kind of hard to keep up. Like, it's slower than, like, even, like, Espeon or something, which kind of sucks.
I mean, like, when you're running around, like, with all these, like, Iron Bundles and Booster Energy Valiant, Dragapults, all these, like, ridiculously fast Deoxys Speed, it's just really hard to, like, compete with those Pokemon that are just, like, barely above the 110 range. And it's kind of crazy that just now, like... base 110 is considered like slow. Yeah,
it does have good defense, which is really nice. But the problem is also, like, if I'm gonna invest in defense, then am I gonna, like, get rid of speed or attack to, like, try to, you know, have it be more of a wall? But it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of like needs all the stats.
It needs all the stats. It does.
All right, last question I have for you here. Looking forward, is there anyone that you're excited to play against? And, like, are there any words you'd like to say to your fellow opponents?
I have one word to say to one specific opponent, or actually 2 words to say to one specific opponent, and that specific opponent is you. And the words are "fuck you" for making me play Iron Valiant twice in a season. God damn it! I play Kyle in 2 weeks as of the recording of this, and I don't want to go up against Iron Valiant again. But you forced me.
Hey, this is your chance to redeem yourself here.
I don't want to redeem myself. I want to win. I don't
care
about anything
to beat the Iron Valiant.
I don't care about that. I just want to win. I don't want to go up against that stupid fuck again.
Well, anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Perfect. Well, that was a great interview, William. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, you're welcome, I guess.
All right, and with that, we'll get to our next interview, so stay tuned for that. And our next guest we have here is Alex. Would you like to introduce yourself?
It's me, Alex.
All right, awesome. Hi, Alex. Welcome. All right, I got some questions for you.
That's me. That's my name.
Are you ready for your interview today, good sir?
I am so ready.
Perfect. Well, we're just gonna start off nice and simple here. So, Alex, who's your all-time favorite Pokemon, and give me a reason why.
All-time favorite. It's always been, well, with my username and a lot of things, it's always been Steelix.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know. I've always liked him.
I was gonna say, like, I kind of already know the answer because literally it's in your name. Plus, Onyx is like your Discord well, I mean, it's not anymore, but it used to be your Discord profile.
Yeah, I've always liked Onyx, and then it became Steelix when I grew older. It's a steel snake, I guess. What's not to like?
You know, I was gonna ask.
It goes in order. It goes Steelix, Alolan. What is it?
Is it one of the ice ones?
It's Alolan Marowak.
Oh yeah, that's
Marowak. A good one. That one's a cool one. Yeah. And then it goes Onyx at 3.
I did not know about the Alolan Marowak. I got a question because your old like nickname, like username that I've known is Peekaboo, so that's like referring to Marill and Azumarill.
Yeah.
Do you have like a favoritism towards them as well?
No, the reason why I chose that one was because it was my Smash Bros name, and I mained for a while Pikachu and Pichu and the blue alt of
the wizard hat
of other things. Yeah, so it was like Pika and the blue.
Oh, I get it. So it's like not anything to do with Marill or Azumarill.
No, I don't care for Marill too much.
Okay,
it's just funny.
That clears it up in my head. I thought you had them as your favorite. Okay.
It's like, the Peekaboo thing from Gen 2. I was talking about Peekaboo.
Peekaboo. I know Peekaboo. All right. So that does clear that up in my mind. So that's pretty cool. So far, next question, by the way. So far, who's your favorite Pokemon on your current team? And that could be like your favorite Pokemon to build, your favorite to use in the battle, or it could be like your favorite nickname, the one that, like, the design that really speaks to you, really anything.
Well, I'm gonna flip this around. First of all, I want to know what your favorite is. I'm gonna flip the interview around. I'm curious what your
nobody's done that before. My favorite? Okay, honestly, it's gotta be Hisuian Samurott. That's got to be my favorite Pokemon to use. And even though, it's just to use in battle, because, like, to build, it's a completely different answer, because Samurott, I bring the same thing every week, right? Aqua Cutter, Cease's Edge comes every week. I pretty much always run Assault Vest on it as well, as its item.
Right.
But, like, it's just really, like, he's just super awesome. Samurott's always been, like, my favorite Gen 5 starter. So, it's, like, it's cool, it's black and red, and it looks badass. I love it as a Pokemon. But my favorite to use in battle, even though I haven't brought him too much this season, he's got to be Flygon. Because Flygon, running it specially, is something that can catch a lot of people off guard. Or you can just run it physically, Dragon Dance, all those sort of things. It's got mediocre stats for the current generation, but with Terra helping it out a lot, it really like brings its flexibility, and it can really show off my creative muscles whenever I build it. So yeah, that's what I'd have to say. And then nicknames, they're all Fire Emblem nicknames, cool. So who cares?
Of course, they're all basically the same.
They're all the same.
All right, now that it's given me enough time to think about my answer, I'm gonna go for Iron Leaves.
Yeah,
people are gonna assume I choose like Pincurchin or something like that, but I mean it's just kind of, you throw it in, it does, Memento and Spikes or whatever.
Right.
But Iron Leaves you can set up, and it has like so much different coverage on them, and it has sweeping potential. It's only happened once, but we'll see.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, just like the past few times you tried to use it, just been unfortunate, really. But like we did get to see it like pop off one time, and I'm actually kind of excited to see it happen again. Not against me, of course.
Hope it
but
happens
like
one
other
more
people.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, not against me. I don't want to sweep me, but it can sweep other people, and I'll be excited to see that.
Yeah, just throw one sword stance, or even agility. You can learn agility too.
True. Plus, it just being like super like naturally fast is kind of cool. Anybody else?
It's my Terra Captain now too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let me see here. I don't know. I like Iron Bundle is obviously like my highest point one, but it's just like ice and water moves. Like there's not really much. I stick the same moves on it every week. Like too crazy.
How do you feel about the good old Belly Bolt?
I'll bring him again. Honestly, like I think he's a really good Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. But in a team where I already have like another electric Pokemon, and I wanted Terra on Iron Leaves, I just don't think it's happening.
Yeah. Well, I do want to mention it to you that we have a rule in the spreadsheet. I'm not quite sure if you would know, but like you have to bring every one of your Pokemon to a game.
I did bring it once.
You did? I don't remember.
I did. Right before I switched Terras. So it was the week I swept with Iron Leaves. I used it. I didn't bring it out because I swept with Iron Leaves, but it was there.
Oh, okay. You know what? Then it's fine. That's probably why I don't remember it. Because I never saw it hit the field. Well, anyways.
What was it running? I can actually see what it was running.
Oh yeah, I'm curious.
Well, I was running Soak. I was running
Soak. The classic Soak Parabolic Charge.
Parabolic Charge, Slack Off, and Reflect.
Dude, I think that Pokemon would actually be really good. Me and Eric were talking about this. This is a little behind the scenes, but if we were to lower the power level to like only like the 12 points and below category, or maybe 13 points and below, that way like it would actually be able to shine a lot more with like weaker Pokemon, quote unquote. I think Bellabot is like a steal. It's bulky, honestly, it's fat, and it can Terra.
Yeah. It's fat.
It's chubby. Alright, next question here. What's your history with competitive Pokemon?
This league... it's actually not true. I did play a little bit of, like, Gen 7 as well, was I think my start. So, like, actually on my copy of Moon, I built, like, a whole... an actual competitive team in singles. It was only, like... The format was only like 3 Pokemon that you could bring. I remember I farmed for Lunala on my copy of Moon. I like farmed for just the right nature Cosmog. Like I kept resetting for it and trained all the EVs and IVs. And I'd always bring it out first on my team because everyone in Gen 7 competitive led with Mimikyu.
Oh, really?
If you know anything about Moongeist Beam is a ghost type move that bypasses abilities. So you go through disguise.
And you just
hit
them.
Moongeist Beam and it kills them turn 1 and then they leave.
There should be more moves like that ignore abilities. I mean, obviously it's super strong, so it should be limited to like special Pokemon. But that's something that we've only seen like once or twice, And so I think that's such a unique, like such a cool thing. And
I also had, I remember Celesteela was another one.
Celesteela.
But like a really terrible set. We're talking like Toxic, Leech Seed, Protect, Heavy Slam. I think that's what it was. It was awful.
You're disgusting.
Nature.
That's why you drafted Stall last season.
last season. That took me really, that went really well.
Well, you win some, you lose some. What can I say? So that's actually pretty interesting. I don't know many people that I've interviewed so far that have done like actual competitive, like in game, and like didn't like EV and IV training.
It was only like that one time for a little bit. Yeah. I really like. It took a long time to get there, but I really liked the grind, surprisingly enough. But I only did that for a little bit, and then this league was my, the only
like
other
your
time.
Return competitive. Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's really interesting. Didn't know that about you. I got another question for you here. What are your thoughts about your current draft overall, like as a whole? Are you happy with it, proud of it, or are you a little regretful in some areas?
Happy with it.
Really?
Yeah. Like last season, I was a little regretful, just because some of the Pokemon that I chose, Stall and like defensive Pokemon, are just not good in this league.
Mm-hmm.
You can build around it and stuff, and you can't choose Terra on Annihilate. That sucked. This time, I think it's been my favorite team yet. Like even season 1, which I won. Don't get me wrong. Like obviously it was good, but I'm just having a lot more fun with this one. I don't think I might make it into like the top half. I might make it into playoffs. I might not. Mm-hmm. But regardless, I've had fun along the way, and I think the synergistic nature of my team, I got to do more stuff like this.
I think that is the most important thing you can have with a team. It's not about like, oh, is this team like the best statistically, or do I have the best type synergy? To me, it's always just about having fun, right? As long as you're having fun with your team, you like the Pokemon that you're using, that's what's most important. Like, who cares if you're using like the top Pokemon? I mean, I can't really say that because I used Iron Valiant for the first half of the season, but like, as long as the Pokemon that you're using are Pokemon that you like and you're having fun with, that's what's more important. Because, I mean, who wants to use a Pokemon that is quote-unquote really good, but you hate using, you don't like, That's just not fun. And then you're stuck with it for like the whole season, as long as you have Pokemon that you like to have.
I think it's really funny to just have Iron Hands right there and then not choose them despite Eric. That's also really funny.
Would you have taken it if it wasn't Eric's favorite?
Still probably not. I mean, it's an electric type. I have enough of that.
But is Iron Hands, bro?
It is Iron Hands. It does really excel in this one. I don't know. I was between this and Sun Team. I was thinking of doing a Sun Team, but I felt like someone else would have done that.
Turns out none of us did.
And then no one did, so I could have done it the whole time. But it's okay. I like this more.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe I'll get Sun Team next season. Who knows?
You have to fight me for it.
Oh boy.
Anyways, last question for you of the night here, or whatever. Looking forward, is there anybody that you're really excited to play against? And alternatively, are there any questions or any words, any callouts you would like to say to your fellow opponents?
No to both.
Come on, not anybody. You're not excited to play anybody?
No, okay. All right, let's see what we got here.
You got any fighting words?
I don't know if I got any fighting words. Like Eric's up next for me. I mean, well, actually, right after this interview is my fight with Raziel. But by the time this is posted, it will definitely be done with that. Mm-hmm. We also have, let's see, we got Eric, and I just think his team is super synergistic, and his psychic terrain will be super interesting with my potential electric terrain. I don't know. I think he's got it in the bag in this one, but who knows? You never know. I think you, Michael, and Kyle are kind of toss-ups here. I don't know who's gonna win.
Yeah, I was
looking one of us is gonna get a sweep, but it could go either way.
Yeah, I think I was looking at your team, and your team kind of is like the hardest counter to mine, because you have Iron Bundle, and as you know, my team has 6 ice weaknesses.
Yep. And did you see what I you saw what I changed in the? And
you changed Iron Leaves to Ice Terra, or Ice type Terra. It's probably specifically for me.
Wasn't specifically for you, but I looked at everyone's teams in the future, and I saw it wasn't just yours that was a trend. We'll just say that.
That's true. Ice.
There's one or two other Pokemon that kind of need that for.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of that real quick, before we wrap this up, people were talking about like how my ice weakness is super prevalent, but like there's not many ice types in the league, actually. I mean, I dropped Kyurem, which was probably the biggest ice type.
Oh, you don't have Kyurem. Oh yeah, you don't have Kyurem.
I don't have Kyurem anymore, yeah.
That's crazy.
I dropped him for Enamorous to keep that Dragon Steel Fairy Core. But other than that, the only other ice type is Iron Bundle, which is on your team, and Weavile, which is on Connor's team. And I already played William, and he has an Ice Q. Other than that,
I guess
nobody else has an ice type. Everybody has to run Ice Stab or Terra Ice. And so that makes
crazy. That's crazy. We don't have another ice types.
That just makes prep against me a lot easier, because you're gonna have to run your ice type coverage, and it's not gonna be stab, and I can run something to kind of cover that. So that's why I'm not super afraid of my ice type weakness.
Yeah. I still think you got a strong team. I mean, like Hisuian Samurott set up spikes. Dragapult is just Dragapult. Like
super duper versatile. I love my team. This is probably my favorite team.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's
all.
Do
you have any call outs? I could just switch it onto you for all of this.
Again? Listen.
Again.
Let me see. I think my next opponent is Ben. I don't really have any beef with Ben. We've already gone through that with Kyle. Kyle said that he's wanted to beat Ben. And then it's you. I hope I beat you. Right? That's the thing.
Wow.
I'm excited actually to play against Connor and Isaiah, because they're both new to the league, and Isaiah has a really solid draft, and he's also been steadily improving his battles, so I'm excited to play him. And then Connor, he's just been like on a roll. Like, he has the highest differentials as of this video. He has the highest differential in all the league, even though he doesn't have the highest score. I think he's been piloting his team very well, and I'm really
it's crazy
to play against him. Other than that, I got all my tough battles out of the way, or all my easy battles out of the way, I should say. And now it's going uphill, so I hope I can keep my good score.
Keep your top 3.
Yeah, top 3 right now. Woo! Let's go, baby. But anyways, yeah, that's all I have for you today, Alex. Thank you for joining me for this lovely interview.
It was a pleasure talking with you. So
perfect. And then we'll just get on with the next interview right now. So stay tuned.
Right now.
All right, and for our next guest we have here is Connor. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Connor. I am a college student studying vocal performance. I mostly play, in terms of competitive games, competitive Smash, but I've played Pokemon for
Wait, hold on. That's one of the questions I was going to ask. We'll save that save that.
Okay, sure.
I was going to ask that question just a little bit later. So we'll save that juicy stuff for just a little bit here. But I just wanted to start off really simple here first. I just want to ask, who's your favorite Pokemon of all time and why?
You know, I've gone back and forth on this a lot. I am very prone to, the little guys. Just the cute little first stage mons.
Really?
So I'm a big Goomy guy.
That's right.
That's why my team name is the Godlike Goomies. Love that little dude. But I also, I still kind of have that kid in me that just kind of really likes watching things absolutely go to town.
Yeah.
So I think the perfect intersection of those for me is Dragonite, who just can absolutely just go to town on a motherfucker, and also Friendshaped.
Yes.
Love that guy.
Dude, are you okay? I just want to know, in terms of do you have a tier list of small mons, first stage baby cute Pokemon that you have in your mind?
Definitely not a comprehensive look, but I definitely have a top 3 at least. Goomy, Spheal, Wooper.
Yes.
Specifically Paldean Wooper. Adorable. Fucking love him.
I'm partial to regular Wooper because he has free Wi-Fi on his stomach. That's why I love him. But Paldean Wooper is cool too. I love Wooper in general. And I'm glad you said Spheal. Spheal was one of the first ones that came to my mind. as well as everybody likes Snom, but
oh yeah, Snom is insane.
Everybody loves Snom. All right, next question. So far on your team, who's your favorite Pokemon on your draft team? I should say.
I feel like I have to give it to Gyarados.
Yeah.
Obviously, Great Tusk, incredible utility Pokemon. Also, I've run like Choice Scarf a lot of weeks just because I kind of needed it to. It's like super reliable.
Yep.
Like always bring him. Super reliable. Ribombee, just like setting up the webs, just does its one thing and it does it so well. But I think Gyarados, in terms of like points value per like how much utility I've gotten out of it, super useful. Love the Intimidate support. It gets like sub Thunder Wave. And like Intimidate makes it really like functionally bulky on the physical side, and it's got like really solid special defense. So honestly, like you don't even need to run boots. You can just run like leftovers if you're keeping up with hazards, and then it just kind of like sticks around and spreads paralysis. But also, it's just like a crazy Dragon Dance sweeper. It's a crazy steal, and the fact that it's free Terra type is kind of insane.
That's what I was saying too. Like, I wanted to, when we were doing the draft, like preparing for that. I remember thinking, well, like I think Gyarados with free Terra only being 8 points is actually insane, but the fact that it hasn't been drafted the first 2 seasons made me kind of give it a pass. Like, we'll just see how busted it's gonna be, and if it turns out being exactly how I thought it would be, which is really good for only 8 points, then either we're gonna nerf it somehow in the next season, or like make it more points. But the fact that you get to take advantage of it like now, I mean, just go ahead, like abuse that that thing, because like you got him. It's worth it. I wanted to ask, on your team, what is your favorite nickname on your team?
It's definitely the Great Tusk nickname. So if anybody hasn't caught on, because some of them are like pretty niche, but my nickname theme is songs, and they're all songs that I really like. And most of them are from indie bands, but Great Tusk I named Dog on a Chain, which is a song by New Electric Sound, and I just think it's really funny to call a Great Tusk a dog. I think that was a good bit on my part.
I was wondering, like, why is it? I was wondering what your names were, because I was going through them, and I'm like, Dog on a Chain, The Garden. I forgot what Pink Matter was the Chansey, and I'm like, what are all these nicknames?
Yeah, I might just drop like a playlist at the end of the season.
Dude, you should.
I could just like drop that now actually, but I'll probably wait till playoffs.
True, you could do that. By the way, real quick, you were doing your little battle as we were interviewing. I'm gonna just post that replay in the Discord, because this went to turn 100. Okay, for context, I'm just gonna keep this in because I think it's funny. I was waiting to do an interview with him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, sure. I'll just I'm finishing up a random battle real quick." 10 minutes later, he goes, "All right, so that was not true." I turn in, and it's a subtoxic Gliscor against a steel-type Earthworm, which is or Earthworm, I should say, that is immune to toxic, immune to ground, and has no way of hitting him. And this guy stalls to turn 100 and loses, obviously, because he can't touch the Earthworm, and he just gets PP stalled and loses, wasting all of our time. But you know what? We take those, I guess.
I kind of respect the resilience, but at the same time,
yeah, he's just annoying. Well, anyways, now that we're done with that, now we can get to the fun part. Is what's your history with competitive Pokemon? I'm really curious, genuinely curious to know.
So my history with competitive Pokemon starts in Gen 6 singles. I don't remember exactly how or why, but I started getting into it around then. I think it was towards the beginning of Oraz, because I think I played before Oraz, but I also vividly remember running like a funny Mega Sableye team, and I would, because I was low ladder, still am, but I was low ladder at the time, so everybody would just lead their hazard setter. So I would lead Sableye. Sabeleye's ability is Prankster, but Mega Sabeleye's ability is Magic Bounce. So people would set up Stealth Rock, get them Magic Bounced back, and then resign. And it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. So I play a lot of Gen 6 OU. And then, but I don't like keep up with the competitive scene or anything. I just kind of like have a team on Smogon and play it every here and there. I don't play Gen 7 at all. Gen 7 into the start of Gen 8 is like, I wasn't really keeping up with Pokemon, whether it be casually or competitively. But towards the tail end of Gen 8, I started to get back into it. I don't remember if I played any Gen 8 OU at all, but I do remember having a Gen 8 UU team. Gen 8 UU is like a really fun format, I think.
Yeah, really.
There were a lot of cool mons in there. I had like a I remember I had like Chansey, Keldeo, Zarude, Salamence, and the Salamence set was really cool. It's like a support Salamence, but it was also mixed attacker because it had dual wing beat and flamethrower. It was so fun. But then it also just like, it just came in and defogged, and you just like had Roost on it, and it was invincible, but it didn't do a whole lot. It's still fun. I loved using that mon.
Go ahead. Were you done?
Yeah, and then Gen 9 comes out, and I get for the first like month or two, I do VGC. So I did VGC Regulation A and B. And then I think Regulation C was when Home dropped, and I didn't want to deal with Home because I never bought the DLC for Sword and Shield. I don't know how much you know about VGC, but Urshifu is a fucking problem.
I know about that one.
And I don't want to like. It feels wrong to play VGC on Smogon with a team that I'm never going to be able to build in game.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like didn't, but I've been meaning to get back into it.
That's kind of a problem with VGC. I mean, you hear it all the time that like it's so hard to like not only build Pokemon, but I mean like getting access to certain mons like the Urshifus, where you need to pay $30 to go through and like play through the whole RPG aspect of the DLC. And then also like Enamorous too, Pokemon like that where they're locked behind a $60 game that you have to spend 20 to 40 hours playing in order for you to get to the end game, so you can just get one Pokemon. It's like, it makes it so hard to get into from like a competitive, like a casual standpoint. Like if you're going into a competitive Pokemon, you're already a Pokemon fan, and there's just so much time and money and investment set on just even like getting access to the Pokemon, and then you have to actually build them too. I just feel like.
Have you seen the I'm a Blissey videos on building? He did a bunch of building past gen teams, but I think he did one on Gen 9 recently, and also, or they did one on Gen 9 recently, and I say recently, it was 7 months ago, and they calculated all of the like games and the money you'd have to spend to get like one specific team, and it says on the thumbnail $510, which is kind of crazy.
500.
Yeah, because I think that does include the Switch, but it just thinking about, because there's Cresselia, Urshifu, and I think a Legends Arceus mon on the thumbnail, like I think it's Ursaluna. So that's Legends Arceus, Sword or Shield plus DLC, and then either Legends Arceus, but probably Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, because I don't know how much you know about like Legends Arceus, but IVs don't exist in that game, so you can't actually check the IVs until you trade them to a main series game. So with Legendaries, if you're going for a 0 IV Cresselia, you like have to do it in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl.
That sucks. Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I played Legends Arceus a little bit, but I didn't know that you couldn't check IVs like at all. And like some Pokemon are locked behind that game. That sucks.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm almost certain I heard this somewhere. I don't think I'm spreading misinformation, especially for like Enamorous Therian, who is like the Trick Room Mon of all time. Trying to get 0 IV on that would be. Oh, also it's a special attacker, C1 0 attack IV.
Yeah, man, I did not know that it was that bad. So going back, on topic here, you were saying that you started in Gen 6. Were you mostly online during that time, or did you actually build your teams in game too and play like online, like the latter?
Oh, I definitely just used Showdown.
Okay,
yeah.
I started back then too, and then I didn't actually make my teams. I think I was mostly an online person as well, but I do remember around that time, like especially when Oras came out, I started to actually like EV and IV, like breed for IVs on my Pokemon, but I didn't actually like play online. I just played against like my cousins and stuff. But I remember that's when I started to like, get into like breeding and actually like making Pokemon like in game. And then Gen 7 and Gen 8 I stopped as well. I just wasn't a huge fan of like the first of all, it was the Pokemon choices. Like I wasn't a huge fan of like using like the Ultra Beasts and how they weren't like quote unquote real Pokemon, and how like all the OU Pokemon were suddenly UU, and I'm like, it just seems like power creep. It's not a big fan of it, so I skipped
Power
Gen
creep
7.
Is absolutely insane. Like,
yeah,
Garchomp in UU
in this new generation is crazy.
I think like isn't Blaziken like UUBL right now?
Yeah, Speed Boost Blaziken, which used to be Uber's caliber, is now not even OU. It's crazy.
That was part of the reason why I loved Regulation A and B in in Scarlet Violet so much. Yeah. It was so unpower crept. Like people were using Murkrow. That was the big example, was Murkrow. But there were so many like niche Pokemon that you could use because there was such like a relatively low power level pre-home.
So now that I think we can move on to the next question here. A few questions I gotta ask. What are your overall thoughts on your draft as a whole? Like, are you excited? Are you happy about it, or are you kind of regretful in some areas?
So I went into this draft having not played like any Gen 9 singles whatsoever, and it's been so long since I team built. So I just like kind of tried to put together a solid team of Pokemon that I like knew were good and Pokemon that I knew have been good in the past. And I think I succeeded in that. I think I have a solid team. I think I could have planned a lot better. I think it would be nice if my team was a little bit more synergistic. I realized before I made these last trades that none of my Pokemon got a pivoting move. Like I have 0 pivots. I have like no U-turners except for like Rabombi, who's outspeeding everything.
That's true.
And I was like, that was a crazy oversight. But which is like part of the reason why I think Wacky is like honestly a great addition. Is like it gets knockoff support. It's pretty bulky with Eviolite. Sets up grassy terrain. It's nice for like just having a funny priority move in a last hit scenario, and it's a slow pivot.
Yeah, with U-turn.
It's got like a really slow U-turn. Yeah.
That's actually really nice. For only how many points did you pick it up for? 2?
It was 2.
2 points. Yeah, that's crazy. And you can like get like, I don't know, like some grassy seed like setups, or something to abuse the terrains. I mean, without an Unburden
Grassy Seed, Weavile with Pickpocket.
Is that like a strategy that you're gonna employ?
I don't know. Maybe. It sounds a little bit funny. I did try my match versus Alex. I thought he was gonna bring the Pincurchin. So I had Electric Seed, Pickpocket, Weavile. But then the Pincurchin didn't end up showing up. So
it would have been.
I don't know if I want to try it again because I feel like, I've done it once. It was a funny gimmick and it didn't work. I don't know if it's worth it to do the exact same bit again.
Well, you never know. You still have one. You still have to fight Eric. He's the other terrain user. It could come
that's true with
in clutch.
Ndidi.
Yeah, it could come in clutch. I just have one more question for you then. Is there anyone you're excited to play against for your future battles? And are there any words or call-outs you would like to say to your fellow opponents?
There's a lot of people I haven't faced yet. I think are really, like, I'm quite scared of their teams. Definitely, like, your team is like great. I'm scared of like Eric and and like Kyle, and I'm just looking at these mons and I'm like, I don't know how many like answers to a lot of these I have, and I watching my replays, I just I know there's a lot of like plays that I see in hindsight that I am like too caught up in the moment. I'm like too holding forward to see. Like my battle versus Jake, where he reverse swept. I was up 5-1.
Yeah, that was rough.
Me with Ogre Pawn. I looked back on it and I think I counted at least 6 different outs I had that didn't rely on T-Wave. But I just was like, I switched in the Great Tusk because I was so eager for the 5-0. And I just like, I don't know, I just like need more singles experience, which is part of the reason why I'm like starting to dabble in like PU and Gen 3 OU, because I think they're just like fun formats, but I kind of also need that like experience of making good decisions under pressure. Yeah. It's sort of something that I struggle with in like chess too. I play.
Oh yeah.
I've played quite a bit of chess, and that's something where it's like, it's not just like making the right decisions, it's figuring out which decisions require the most time. Because like sometimes you'll make a throwaway move and it'll lose you the entire game, even though you spent like the last 3 moves like super cleverly crafting a plan.
Yeah, I think one tip of advice I could give is to not rely on making predictions. I feel like as well, I feel like you don't make as many predictions like your plays. At least I don't see it from like an outsider's perspective, but just like in general, try just like making safer plays, you know. The less risk the better, even if the reward isn't as high. That's kind of how I play, is just like trying to reduce the risk as possible. Like I could be like, oh, I can make a call out that this person is gonna swap right here, and I can click this move. But I'm like, well, I can just click this other move, which does damage to everything, gets me like guaranteed progress, even if it's not like super effective. And then, you know, that puts me in a position where I'm not like screwed if they do something like that. Like if they make another play.
It's funny, like I remember my battle with William, I had 2 of those moments where like I sent my lead was like Great Tusk versus I want to say it was Heatran. It was something weak to fighting. And I looked at his his Pokemon that he brought, and I saw that there were like fighting resists that I could hit with Ice Spinner, but I figured it was better to just get the damage with CC. And then later I was in a similar situation. I kind of had to read the switch into like Land OI with an Ice Spinner, and then it paid off. So like,
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I've done both. It's I guess it's just like trying to play to where you don't need to rely on the predictions.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. Part. Just like trying to position yourself to where you don't have to make as many risks. With that, do you have anything else to say? Because I'm all out of questions.
Thank you for this opportunity. I've been really enjoying this season. I've never done Draft League before, but I am really, really enjoying it, even though it's I basically am always building my team like Fight Air Saturday night. So it's like I'm procrastinating it, but it's really, really fun. It's helping me think more about team building. It's almost like an easy version of team building, because like you know exactly what you're playing against. So like team building on a larger scale is just, or like in a different format, is just thinking about all of the different things that you have to prepare for. But I'm really enjoying it. I think, yeah.
Definitely allows you to really like flex your creative muscles.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we'll get to our next interview guest. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And so we have a next guest. Would you like to introduce yourself here?
Hi, my name is Ben, also known as Wallace Locomotive. I am last season's loser and this season's winner.
Let's go, baby!
Oh, yeah.
The normal type mono team. We love to see it. All right.
Yeah.
So I have a few questions I have to ask. We'll start off nice and easy for you here. So who's your all-time favorite Pokemon?
All-time favorite Pokemon? Well, this is easy. And ironically, I've never used this Pokemon ever in a draft battle league. But it is Sableye. I love that little gremlin. He's, I don't know, there's something about his design that really piqued my interest. And I've just been drawn to him since the day I've met him.
You act like he's like your partner or something.
He's my best friend, and anytime I see him in any form of media, I'm like, yep, that's what I like to see.
That's my boy right there. Do you like Mega Sableye?
Mega Sableye is awesome, and I thought it was amazing that they made a Mega Sableye. Because I thought, he's going to be overlooked. He's going to be one of those Pokemon that's overlooked. Nope.
Give him spikes.
Give him spikes and give him a big old diamond shield. I thought it would have been cooler to get him more, physically offensive, but I think the defense, counterpart to Mawwile's offense actually works pretty well.
Dude, I love the big gem and how on his art you can see his reflection peering through, and he's got a huge you can see his giant eye and his mouth. I think it's super cool.
He's got a big stupid grin on because it's gonna take more than just 2 hits to get him.
I know, he's a little goblin.
Oh yeah.
All right, so on your team so far, who's your favorite Pokemon to use? It could be your favorite to use in battle, favorite to build, your favorite nickname, etc.
Well, my favorite Pokemon in general on my team would probably... Oh, I gotta look at my team real quick because I've got so many Pokemon. Oh, that's true. Gotta be Chinchilla. Or no, Sunflora. Of course, Sunflora.
Of course, Rat Killer.
I don't even know why I was questioning it. Sunflora, I drafted, season 1 because it was an underdog pick, and it played fairly well, especially against you, Michael.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about it.
Sunflora's your worst enemy.
Dude, it is.
To build, I really like Sawsbuck.
Really? You just got him?
No, not Sawsbuck. Sawsbuck's not that cool.
Oh. Who is it then?
Oh, Arboliva. Arboliva's amazing. Arboliva's a great setup mon.
Yeah.
Very bulky, very slow, however. But I like seeing what kind of gimmicks I can pull with Arboliva. And it's I've never used a setup mon, but Arboliva being the first is really eye-opening to me.
Yeah. It's just a big special attacker. It's got big bulk, and it's got pretty decent coverage as well.
Oh yeah. And then my favorite nickname, I think I might have to go with Ursaluna here. Return of the King or Return of Jafar. It's one of the two.
Return of the Jafar.
I think it plays well into Ursaluna's role on my team. Ursaluna was a huge heavy hitter from last season, and I'm glad to have it back because honestly, I don't know what I would do without Ursaluna. I think it's a staple of all of my teams now, and you can expect it in the future.
Dude, I think that's if any Pokemon was your Pokemon, that's your Pokemon right there.
That's my Pokemon.
I feel some teams they have their Pokemon. That's your Pokemon right there.
That's my Pokemon. All the other teams, they like to change their teams up, get new Pokemon here and there. Not me. I like to know what works, and Ursaluna works.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
All right, I got another question for you here. What's your personal history with just competitive Pokemon? When did you start? What were your roots?
My roots were joining Pokemon Showdown in the 5th grade, and the first team I ever built was a Dark-type, Mono-type team.
Wow.
And all all of their moves, attacking moves. There was no setup. There was no thought behind it. It was find the strongest move that they can learn and have them use it. I didn't know special physical split. I didn't know what EVs were. Didn't know what nature meant. It was just build the strongest team move-wise. So it's kind of down the drain. And since season 1, I have not gotten much better. Like I've found gimmicks here and there.
Yeah.
With guidance from Eric and everybody. But let me tell you, it's not changing.
It's just all gimmick. It's just all power, baby.
It's all power or straight gimmicks.
Well, I mean, you started off better than me, and when you saying that, like you started on Showdown and just making like random teams, it reminded me of like when I started playing Showdown, and I was using Steelix with like Dragon Breath, and I was like, ooh, like Steelix is a cool Pokemon, and like, ooh, he learns Dragon Breath. That's a cool move, and like I didn't know that like Steelix has like no special attack. I didn't know Dragon Breath sucks as a move. I was just like, ooh, that's a cool move. And then going on the ladder, and then fighting, and then obviously losing. But hey, it was fun for me, and that's what kept me playing. You know, I would use like Muck and like what? But at the time, I was just like, Muck's a cool Pokemon.
Let me tell you, Stockpile, Swallow, Spit Up, Muck is crazy. Expect that next season.
Ooh, I can't wait to see it. We're getting some leaks of your next team.
Maybe.
Ooh. I can't wait. I'm excited. I haven't thinking about my draft yet, but I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm looking forward to it.
Me as well.
What are your thoughts on your current draft as a whole? Are you really happy with it, or are you regretful in some areas?
I love my draft. Like, the original team that I drafted, not so good, you know? Staraptor didn't get any use because I had 2 cannons. But then I traded 2 cannons, so it kind of came full circle. But the team I have now is perfect for my style of gameplay. Sunflora, Smeargle, like Porygon Z, they're all gimmicky. You know, you can pull something out of a hat with them. And that's exactly like how I like to play, you know. I like to play the RNG.
Yeah.
I like to play gimmicks. And it all works out. And, you know, I've got some powerhouses in there, like Hisuian, Zoroark, Ursaluna. They're just, you know, big brutes who can power through anything. So it's kind of a mix of how I started and where I am now.
Yeah, I love just your team just being all normal types. I think that's such a funny concept. We only have 2 gimmick teams, quote unquote. That's what you guys call them. Is yours and Alex's teams, but like honestly, yours is the most fun to like watch as well as like as a spectator. Like you never know what's gonna happen.
When you think of like competitive Pokemon battling, Monotype sure comes to mind. But when you have an open draft board, there's no way you're gonna draft all one type because you know that's a huge detriment. But when you have a type that is only weak to one thing, it doesn't seem too bad. Like one fighting type, sure, you're done for. But you've got good counters, like you've got your normal psychic Pokemon like Giraffe or Farigiraf and Oranguru, and then normal flying, normal ghost. It all kind of works out.
That's the thing. I think normal is probably the best one in that regard because it's only weak to fighting, and you have a lot of things to like counter it. You know, like you said, you have your normal psychics, you have your normal ghost, and then you even have like, you know, you can even run like a berry if you want to, like a Choppleberry if you want.
Yeah, Choppleberry.
And so like in that regard, it makes it a little easier to prep against because you know what's coming. Like you know you're bringing your fighting type or your fighting coverage, and so you can play around that.
Yep.
I think that's really cool. All right, and then last question I have here is, looking forward, is there anyone you're excited to play against for your future opponents, and do you have any choice words to say to them?
Well, I'm excited for week 11. No, not week 11. Week 9 against Kyle.
Yeah.
Ever since week 5, when I battled Raziel, he has been on my case about, oh, that's not fair. You can't do that. Well, let me tell you something, Kyle. When you've got the opportunity to smack someone down when they're beaten, you take it, all right? Not everyone is as good as Pokemon as you are, so you've got to play the mind games. And I hate to say it, but all you've got is brute strength. You can't play those mind games, buddy. So watch out. Week 9, you're going down.
Ooh, it sounds like the brains versus the bronze over here. He's all like, "Hey, man, justice for Raziel."
That's not fair. Raziel. I had to make Raziel's team. I spent 5 weeks slaving away to Raziel for him to yell at me. Oh, pshaw.
This is justice. You're justice for yourself, more like.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I've run out of questions to ask. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we end it off?
No, I think I got it all out of my system.
Well, perfect. Well, then we'll just get on right with our next guest. Stay tuned for that. All right, and we have our final guest here for this interview. Would you like to introduce yourself, final guest?
Yeah, my name is Isaiah, and I am representing Team Kurd.
Let's go. What is your thought process behind Team Kurd? Is it just because of cheese?
The name or the team itself?
the name.
The name, yeah, I'm a big cheese guy. My Discord name is just cheese. And so I figured I might as well make it cheese themed to keep the theme consistent across all platforms of media.
and your Discord profile is of a cheesecake.
Yes, though that is not that is not a normal cheesecake. No, it requires a picture. I think to explain.
I'll put a picture in the video here.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so I got just a couple questions here. We'll start off nice and simple as always. So, who's your favorite Pokemon of all time and why?
Favorite Pokemon of all time?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a big ask. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm just a really big fan of like some of the bigger, more powerful Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's that childish glee in me. I'll have to say Mewtwo. And that's a personal preference of mine because I had the large XL Mewtwo Pokemon card back when I was in like first grade, and that thing was so cool. I don't think I have it anymore though. Maybe my brother has it somewhere. My younger brother's got all the Pokemon cards in the family now. So
actually, I have a card that's like that too. It's a giant XL Charizard card.
Oh, okay,
and then,
yeah.
I had it for a while and then I gave it to my cousin, and he has it
Okay.
now. I think it was from like a pack or something, but I know exactly like what you mean. They're like huge cards, and you can't use them in battle. But,
Nope. You try to shuffle that into the deck.
Yeah. I wonder what this one is.
Yeah, no, but it's probably a combination of that and just the big powerful Pokemon for me.
He's cool.
He's a cool Pokemon. Too? Yeah. I haven't honestly, I haven't seen like enough actual like Pokemon media to do it like enough justice. But I know Mewtwo's the one who's hiding in the little cave in one of the like first Pokemon games, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So that there's that too. Kind of like the mystique around him at that time.
Yeah.
Is just like interesting to me.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that Pokemon have become a little bit too much in recent years. I think like it's cooler if like you can't use Pokemon like Mewtwo because he's just so powerful. Like he can't be subjugated, kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm. I think I know what you mean, where it's like they're not like the center focus. It was more like a secret surprise for when you do beat the game.
Yeah, right, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's a remnant of that era of Pokemon too. So.
All right. Yeah. So next question I have in here. So far, who's your favorite Pokemon on your current like draft team? It could be like your favorite Pokemon to build, or your favorite to use, or your favorite nickname, really.
Yeah, dude, I gotta say Gligar. Because honestly, like Gligar isn't great, but Gligar actually does have quite a bit of potential. Purely just because of the high attack stat and the naturally kind of high speed stat, and access to the Eviolite item to boost the special defense and defense by 1.5 each. So like, I mean, if you hit it with an ice move, it's obviously not going to tank that.
Like everything
pretty much no matter what, but like most other stuff, maybe a water move too, but it's also like an open Terra Captain, so I can Terra into anything I need with it too, which I know I haven't taken a ton of advantage with yet this season, though it did have that one nice showing in one of my games.
That game alone I think brought it up to like number 4 or something.
Is it still top 16? I don't.
I could check real quick.
I didn't check after the last last week.
So Gligar is number 18, so it is just shy of the top 16.
Yeah, because I haven't really used him much since then. Because I haven't really felt like he's fit into the main team since then. I've been trying to put in a little bit of thought, but I am still kind of new to it. I think if I were better at Pokemon, I'd try and use him every single game if I could. But
I mean, for 2 points, he has amazing value. I mean,
as a 2-point Pokemon, he's absolutely great. The ability to set up hazards and the ability to be a great finisher too. Because he has access to a lot of really good moves. I believe he's got Swords Dance, but then he's got agility. He's got the hazard setup. He's got a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, and then just have it's really good stab type and ground with like Earthquake too.
Yeah,
really strong, especially after Swords Dance.
Yeah, right. And I mean, with Earthquake being as prevalent as it is just in general right now, on top of the combined general weakness of my team to ground types, my team at this point is like half ground weakness, half ground immunity. So it's which has changed over time. I started out with just a pretty heavy ground weakness in general.
Yeah, now it's kind of balanced with a lot of levitators, a lot of flying types.
Yeah, I've got a little bit more balance now than I did, for sure.
Well, that's good. That's good. I kind of figured that it was going to be Gligar because, I mean, that's the fan favorite.
Right, yeah.
Gligar, of course. So I got next question for you is what's your history with competitive Pokemon? Now, I already know the answer, but like maybe you can go in more in depth.
Yeah. Well, in terms of competitive Pokemon in the like Pokemon Showdown sense, I have zero history.
Yeah.
I haven't really played much Pokemon in quite a long time. My earliest exposure would have been like early elementary school. I used to play the card game with some of my friends. And there was like a whole like underground Pokemon ring at our elementary school.
Whoa.
And when that got shut down by the school, I kind of fell off Pokemon for a while. And I actually ended up getting into Magic the Gathering instead. So that's been really my primary TCG. But I did play a little bit of the Pokemon games on emulators on my school Chromebook in middle school as well.
Yeah,
so I did some of that, which I don't know who didn't,
Yeah.
But so that's like the extent to it. So the extent of it, really. I haven't the newest Nintendo console I own is a Wii.
You don't even have a Switch?
No, I don't have a Switch.
Whoa.
So I mean, I've got my Wii next to me. I grind Mario Kart Wii all the time, but I'm more of a PC guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I haven't had it's just probably more of my friends are on PC than are on Switch regularly.
That's fair. I mean, you kind of gotta go with what your friends all have if you want to be a part of the gaming sphere.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, not a ton of experience with competitive Pokemon, but a little bit with just
in-game
Pokemon.
stuff, like normal Pokemon.
Yeah, and then I watch the Pokemon TV shows too. But
yeah. All right, well that's cool. I gotta ask, what are your thoughts about your draft overall? Is it are you regretful in some areas, or are you pretty okay with it now?
I'm pretty okay with it. I think honestly the biggest part is I don't really have anything to compare it against.
True.
So obviously I could compare myself to other people, but that's useless in the scheme of a competitive Pokemon draft league, because I've got no experience with this, and so really any result is my best result ever.
True.
So really the best I could say is I'm hoping to improve for next season.
Well, I guess one thing I can ask is that your draft kind of teeters towards more of a mix between balance and stall, where it's balanced in the sense that you have some offensive mons here and there, but it's mainly you set up hazards and you kind of play more passively and try to let your opponent wear your opponent down. I was just wondering would you prefer if you went in a more offensive direction where you take control more proactively, or is this kind of your preferred playstyle where you just kind of lay back, maybe get a few hits in there, but you mainly play passively with chip damage?
Yeah, well, my general tendency as a person is definitely to be passive and more defensive for sure. But it's kind of difficult to be like ultra defense in Pokemon without just committing to not winning the game.
Yeah.
So like I guess I've kind of realized over the course of this that I can't be quite as defensive as I want to be, and so I've been trying to kind of figure out what that sweet spot is of being kind of stall defense type versus trying to actually attack and get finishing moves off of. And really every single week for me is just a test, and I'm like just testing everything out to see, you know, how does it go if I do this. Like I haven't done a week yet that's been the same.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, like, a lot of people think that stall is, like, easy to play because you're not doing anything. You're not making any, like, crazy calls. But, like, stall is, like, really hard to, like, pull off successfully. And the same is, like, true for hyper offense. Like, you know, it's kind of like a spectrum where you got hyper offense and you got, like, super stall. Like, both are really hard to play. Because hyper offense, you have to make like perfect plays, perfect reads, otherwise your team falls apart. And same with stall. Like if you mess up once or twice, then you can just get overwhelmed super easily because you have no like way to turn the tides on your own. And so
yeah, I mean, like with entry hazards as they are, like if you just throw entry hazards out and then they swap in, or if you throw the entry hazards on top of the mon, but if you throw entry hazards at a mon that can single-handedly take any Pokemon on your team, it doesn't give you a lot to work with.
Yeah,
you've almost locked yourself in because now they have a reason not to switch, so they're gonna just pump that thing full of, you know, buffs and whatnot, and then you've got to try and take it down before that sweeps your whole team.
Yeah,
and if you don't have at least one Pokemon, and because you probably want more in case one of them goes down, if you don't have at least one to take on every single Pokemon that they have, then there's no way to deal with a Pokemon that you force to stay on the battlefield.
And that's why I like a lot of the trades that you made, is because you add a few more offensive pieces to make it more of a balance, and then if you do end up making a wrong play, you can kind of have like an out in a sense, where you have like your offensive Pokemon that can bring the momentum back in your favor by killing a couple Pokemon with its own moves.
Yeah.
And I think balance in draft is like a lot easier to play with because there's less of an error, or there's less risk involved with a lot, like, I don't know how to word it right now, but like, if you mess up, it's less punishing.
Right, yeah, no, I know what you're saying. It's been tricky to figure out. I want to try and really what I want to try and do is just get like good enough at the playstyle of stall eventually, that I can like play like a full stall team and just like see how far I can take that. Because I'm a big optimization guy. No matter what I'm doing, I'm trying to optimize it.
You're like
and
me.
So yeah, I feel like I'm probably like a lot of the people in this league, to be honest. But but yeah, it's just I want to see, you know, what I can do with everything, how far I can take it.
That's awesome, and that's like a perfect like way to bring it in. You know, just trying to. I like your optimism, just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna try some things. If it doesn't work out, that's okay, because I'm still learning. You know, you're not like discouraged. It's encouraging. You know, it's nice.
Yeah, really, I'm just I'm testing the waters, and I'm trying to see what works and what doesn't, and using that information because. I mean, I've got experience with Magic the Gathering, which I think, in my opinion, is a bit more complex of a TCG than Pokemon is.
Yeah, for sure.
And, like, you're basically building, like, a small computer in that game to function on the battlefield for you. And so it's stuff like that I really just get into. Like, I wanna make a machine that functions as it's intended. It doesn't have to win, you know, it doesn't have to be spectacular, but I want to make something that is distant, I guess.
And I guess you can take a lot of the things that you learn from Magic and implement it in Pokemon. Obviously, everything's not going to be one-to-one, but, like, you know, a lot of the things about, like, deck building and stuff, you can definitely apply to Pokemon, like the general concepts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then last question I have for you is there anybody that you're excited to play against for your future opponents, and do you have anything you'd like to say to them?
Well, I suppose Eric is probably, because he's one of the only guys I haven't played against yet that like I really know. But I also play more games against Eric than I do anybody else, because if I'm ever gonna just kind of play Pokemon in my free time, it's usually with Eric.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say I'm probably most excited for our one-on-one game. That'll probably be the game I put the most effort into, because if I can make Eric lose and suffer, then that would make the whole thing work.
Yes.
You know? Because he invited me, you know.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, I have to do what I can to make sure that he regrets his decision.
You know, he actually did say that he was excited to play against you too, because he saw how much you were improving, and he's excited to see how well you fare.
Yeah, I've definitely, because I mean, if we're being totally honest, he practically did my draft for me.
Yeah, he told us.
I've, in the last couple weeks especially, I've been building my teams without any of his like direct input, like kind of just more general ideas, as opposed to like I've been picking all of my mons and all the moves that they're going to take, and making all of those formal decisions for myself. So we
saw that with
it's been a journey.
We saw that with all sleep talk.
Yeah, I was sad that I didn't get to make it work, because I'm gonna say I got unlucky, but like there was like a couple turns in there that were like super decisive that just made it so I wasn't able to really do as much as I wanted to with the sleep talk, but it's all right. I'll live.
It'll work one day.
Yeah, I probably won't try it again, to be honest.
That's fair.
But who knows? Maybe that's just misdirection.
Ooh, watch out! Watch out, guys. All right. Well,
yeah, but
that was good. I've run out of questions to ask. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think that pretty much summarizes most of my thoughts about this so far.
All right.
I look forward to continuing, hopefully, and being a part of this for longer.
Oh, nice.
It's been a good time.
Awesome. I should have asked Connor that, but are you thinking about joining us if we do a Lounge Season 4?
Yeah, I would be down.
Hell yeah!
It kind of depends on, when it happens and everything.
Right.
Just, life gets in the way sometimes. I'm going through some pretty big personal changes in my life at the moment, so I've got a lot to plan around with regards to that. But it's aside from that, I would like to continue and play in Season 4 if possible.
Nice. Well, that's good to know. Well, with that, that's it for all of the Lounge mid-season interviews. Thank you all so much for watching, and with that, I hope you guys have a good night. See you later. Hey everybody, this is Post Michael. I just want to thank everybody for watching all the way up to the very end. I've been super busy recently, and I've been just doing this in my free time, so I don't expect this video to blow up, but please just if you did all the way watch it to the end, just leave a like. That'll make me happy. Let me know that I didn't waste my time. I have been super duper busy with homework and school stuff, so just a like would be appreciated here. Other than that, I just want to record a proper outro. This is unscripted, as you can tell. But thank you all so much for watching. If we do this next season, it'll probably be longer. Who knows? But thank you all. And with that, have a good evening, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, whatever time zone you're in, and stay tuned. Bye-bye.